Alright guys, tonight for our best of 5, we have Artosis versus Jaeyun. Actually, kind of surprised I got them to agree to this, but pretty cool. We'll see how this goes. Artosis has been playing against ranged a lot the last couple days, so he should be pretty well warmed up against a high-level Protoss. Jaeyun he wasn't active for a little bit, but he's kind of been back recently. The last like week or two, he's been playing a lot, so we'll see how in shape he is. We'll see how serious he takes Artosis. We'll see if Artosis is on his game today, because you never really know with him. He's a bit of a wild card with his consistency. But both these players, pretty decent S-rank players. They quite often hit S-rank, so it should be pretty decent quality overall.
One thing I like about Artosis is when he's not getting annoyed by his stream constantly, he actually does pretty well. And I've seen that he actually has an S-rank account, so I think this is a pretty equal matchup right here, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that being said, he is streaming right now, so he is getting harassed, but what you said is actually very true. I played against him a couple times, and I beat him a couple times while he's streaming, but when I played against him off-stream, he actually blasted me, so he's much better when he's focused and not getting harassed. Let's help exit. Moriana, thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate it.
And everything's looking pretty standard. Jaeyun with a 10 gateway, cybernetic score, everything's standard. Same with Artosis.
Yeah, nothing super weird to start. And Artosis, he's typically a very standard player anyway. We'll probably see a lot of just normal fact expand from him. I don't know that he mixes it up too much. Even the game before this, he tried a gasless expand, and he kind of messed it up quite a bit, saying that he has not been practicing the build. So I think he'll just play like very standard a lot of this.
I will say I am kind of surprised Jaeyun didn't opt for a 12 Nexus on this map. This map is a very hard map for Protoss. Due to these ramps, because Protoss really doesn't have to even siege all the way to your base. If they can just get above that top ramp there, Terran pretty much can win the game from there.
Yeah, well, it kind of goes both ways. Like, the high ground is, like, obviously a huge advantage. I will say one thing for Jaeyun that is good in this case is he did get a good spawn for it. This map can be very difficult for Protoss depending on spawn, but he got a spawn where he can take his third base relatively well. So at least he's not having to take like this like really annoying third really far out here to make sure he doesn't expand towards the Terran, right? So he does have that going for him as well. He also he's going for this kind of goon scout. It's the latest scout you can pretty much do as Protoss, but it's obviously very greedy. It's just going to allow for like a very efficient opening for Jaeyun.
Yeah, his economy's looking really good right now. Everything's going pretty well. With the 23 Nexus, Artosis should be laying down his...
No. He's actually going aggressive, yeah.
Yeah, we're actually seeing something a little bit different here. I think he thinks Nexus first.
Yeah, he got last scout, unfortunately, and I think he was prepping for a Nexus first, because he went straight for the third depot, continued Marine production, and went into the Vulture. So he was like maybe hoping to find a Nexus first and go for the bus here, but unfortunately gets last scout, and it is not a 12 Nexus from Jaeyun. That being said, like, these Marines, if he cut the Dragoon, because we got one Dragoon on the other side of the map. If these were probes and not a Dragoon, which I think it was, there actually is a little bit of potential here for Artosis. He shouldn't be able to get too much before the next Dragoon comes out. But just making Jaeyun sweat a little bit, getting some damage on this goon. We'll see if he picks off this goon, it's actually pretty nice. But this does also allow him to skip the bunker, which is good for him. Even going to make this forward bunker. If he can get this bunker up, it actually could be very good for Artosis. But the second goon is going to be coming back. Range is done, third goon's out, so I don't think there's any way for this bunker to get up anymore if Jaeyun targets it. But he's actually just going for the Marines. And yeah, the bunker's going to get cancelled. So good hold from Jaeyun, doesn't take any damage really. A little bit of hold damage on you know, 1.5 Dragoons, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Artosis needs to do something right now, because he could just die after this.
Yeah. Hoping for mines to come out before Jaeyun comes across the map. Luckily for him, Jaeyun is staying at home, because Jaeyun doesn't really know exactly what the mine timing is going to be, so he doesn't want to risk walking into mines going across the map. So that is a little bit of a kind of a break for Artosis after this failed attack here, that he gets to skip the bunker and stuff and doesn't come under pressure here.
Jaeyun's kind of ahead, but it still is very playable for Terran. There's still a lot of wiggle room. It's not like over, but definitely Jaeyun has a slight advantage right now.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, slight advantage for Jaeyun. Artosis, though, he's fine overall. Like, only remade 2 Marines, which is good. Like I said, got to skip the bunker, which is good. Getting his eBay up, and Jaeyun just playing very standard right now. Just playing 2-gate Observer right now. A little bit of a, I don't want to say failed wall, but it leaves 2 openings, so it's a little bit dangerous for Vultures to potentially get through later. But gonna clear out the mine with this Observer and look to take us third at a pretty reasonable time. About 6:15, 6:30. That's a decent third timing, pretty standard.
Does Artosis have a armory? Okay, there it is. He's starting it now. So trying to get his upgrades back up. I'm really wondering what he's going to go with. A traditional 5-fact, or is he going to go with more of a fast third timing?
Yeah, I think he probably favors a lot of the 5-fact from what I've seen. Getting thrown down a couple extra gateways, and yeah, just everything looking standard so far. Nothing weird, nothing crazy, other than the opening, obviously. But just the follow-up behind this. Yeah, we'll see. I think Artosis is probably going to go down to that 5 factory, and then we'll see if he wants to go into a third or push. I think after the opening, going for a push is going to be extremely difficult for Artosis, so he'll most likely be looking to play a longer game from here. And just being kind of annoying sniping a probe there, and actually misses a chance to get a second probe as we're back at home macroing. But is going to come back in for that probe, so that's nice. I mean, getting 2 probes and potentially a third here. Getting just kind of feeding him probes at random.
Looks like a bad rally. I wonder, is that coming off his natural nexus? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Actually curious what that was about while we're sending multiple probes like that. I guess just wants to get his probe up here so he can get his pylon wall, but yeah, I kept getting sniped off. Kind of annoying for Jaeyun. But I mean, that Vulture getting 3 probes and getting out, that's a nice little pickup for Artosis. Nothing huge, but it definitely helps even the playing field a good bit. Got our kind of turret ring coming down.
Everything's just looking really standard for Artosis here.
Yeah, for both players, really. It's going to be Arbiter play from Jaeyun off of the 4-gate.
This is going to be very hard for Jaeyun to deal with, or Artosis to deal with, because his tech is going to be really late because of the build that he opted for in the beginning. So I don't really know how he's going to deal with this.
Yeah, still sitting on 1 machine shop as well. Going up to 4 fact. Trying to harass a little bit here in the top right corner, just making it a little bit annoying for Jaeyun trying to expand. But Jaeyun did a good job sidestepping the mines here, making sure not to take much damage. Gonna get some defensive cannons. Arbiter Tribunal should be coming down relatively soon. Like you said, the tech pretty late for Artosis, so we still don't have that +1 coming up on the 9 minutes. It'll probably be closer to like 9.5 to 10 minutes, I believe, before it's done. And yeah, there's the 3rd command center from Artosis after the 5th factory is coming down, so pretty much expected to see that.
Yep. This is kind of, from what I've noticed, Artosis usually opts for a 2-1 timing attack as Terran. A more of a safe late game play, and this is the map for it because all the terrain is buildable, and you can put turrets just about everywhere, so that's another thing that just makes this really hard for Protoss.
Yeah, and this is actually a good anti-Arbiter map. One of the things that make it so good, and yeah, here he scans and he's going to see the Arbiter building right now. Doesn't know for sure that it's Arbiter, but I mean, we only see 1 Stargate blinking, and he sees like the archive, so I can pretty much assume this is Arbiter at this point. It's pretty much impossible that this is a carrier building right now. But yeah, one thing I was going to say, this map is actually pretty decent against Arbiter because defending your natural and defending your 3rd does cover a lot of the pathway into the main for recalls as well. So 3-base setup is decent against Arbiter for that reason, because your army is going to be out here kind of covering a lot of this, so it can be relatively easy to deflect Arbiters because, like I said, you're naturally covering like, 2/3 of your main base essentially on the outside.
Is not really too many spots for Arbiter to sneak through,
Mm-hmm.
especially once he takes his third, just like you said.
Yeah, the hard part against Arbiter would be coming up this ramp into an arc with stasis. That can be the difficult part. Yeah, we see the gateway explosion from Jaeyun, 4th base, coming down, working on taking this high ground. There is at least a Vulture up here to make it a little bit annoying. Or Artosis is going to snipe this probe. Or sorry, make it a little bit annoying for Jaeyun. But actually spots the Vulture and manages to come back without losing the probe, so that's kind of nice.
He was just expanding. He's expanding pretty fast. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in a sense, Protoss does need 5 base versus 3.
Yep.
At least.
Yeah, exactly. Typically, when Terran's landing their 3rd, you're working towards your 5th. So Jaeyun pacing pretty much exactly how he should be against what Artosis is doing. Yeah, we see the +1 done, but the starport's only just now starting, so we're going to be very, very far away from that 2-1.
And even a science vessel to help out with EMPs for later games. So I don't see Artosis moving out anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about how much time Jaeyun's going to have to get into the game state he wants, and he's actually going to be hitting pretty much close to max at 12 minutes. This could be the, he might go for a bust potentially if Artosis is too clumped, because we're going to be maxed with a stasis at 12 minutes. I mean, he may just go now before stasis even. But this is a nice max timing for Jaeyun after going into Arbiter.
And this actually might work to bust Artosis here. Where is the Arbiter going?
Yeah, the Arbiter kind of awkwardly going to the natural as he goes for this bust, so not entirely sure what's going on there, but here we see the army coming down this ramp into this concave from Artosis, and it looks like he's just going to get busted. Jaeyun just full Protossing straight down the ramp, going through the Sim City, through the army.
We got a pure 8-man going on right now.
Yeah, like I said, it was just good macro from Jaeyun, just had good supply at that time. I think Artosis probably needed a much better minefield. I don't even know if he had mini mines. He had some on the high ground, but I don't know that we had much mines down here at the bottom of the ramp, so not enough there to kind of buffer for the army. And yeah, Jaeyun just gonna walk straight through here and crush Artosis.
Wow. Very good bust timing. Very solid play.
G is called.
The talent is real. GG. When are we going to see the same style from Jaeyun? Because Jaeyun really does have a bag of builds, and I'm really looking forward to see some of his other play.
Yeah, if I were to guess, truthfully, because Jaeyun did take that game relatively easily, I think he probably wanted to play like maybe the first game or two to get a comfortable lead, right? And then he might start trying to mix it up and might even see him goof around a little bit. We'll see what he wants to go for here. Artosis, on the other hand, we'll see if he might just try to play a similar style, but maybe without this failed push in the beginning, because like we kind of pointed out, the beginning did put him a little bit behind. So he might just go for a more standard style and skip the aggressive opening.
Well, nothing cheeky so far. No proxies, nothing. Everything's just pretty normal.
Yeah. I do always have that fear ever since he played against you, though, that if he loses a couple in a row, he might just dip out. We'll see how triggered he gets by these games, but I mean, I know he's taken games off of Jaeyun before, so kind of like I mentioned before, he can play really well. Like, I've seen him play at a really, really high level, so it's just a matter of him, you know, kind of being on point and focusing up, and we'll see how he does this game.
Well, he's been friends with Jaeyun for a while, so I definitely don't expect to see the same level of disrespect, but
yeah.
You know, you never know with Artosis.
You never know, man. Didn't check our gas timing. It looked like it might have been a little bit late, but we were on that left side mining, so it can be a bit of a pain to get a good gas timing. Jaeyun, on the other hand, everything looking nice and standard so far. Looks like we are not going Zealot. If he's going to go Zealot, we'll see it start here relatively soon, but I think we're gonna skip Zealot again.
And look at Jaeyun once again going for that very late scout. I'm actually a big fan of this. This is actually how I play when I play Protoss a lot of times. Just that later scout. I usually scout around now because your economy just feels so much better. But the one danger is if Artosis decides to start going 15 CC.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's not good against 15 CC, but even as I mentioned earlier, Artosis not super comfortable with the 15 CC, and maybe Jaeyun even knows that about him or just doesn't even care. But he's basically going for the latest possible scouts, where he's going to be Dragoon scouting. You can do like a scout where after you start the Dragoon, you send a probe, and I actually kind of like this one because the probe will get to the base at the same time your Goon comes out, and then you send your Goon one way and the probe to the other. But he's doing the greediest possible version where we're just Goon scouting on 4-player maps.
Yeah, that's definitely not probably the best thing to do in this meta, but hey, a lot of pros still do it, so I guess it works, right?
Yep. Yeah, looks like it might just be another 23 Nexus from Jaeyun, so still opening very standard. Might want to get that 2-0 lead before, or maybe he just wants to prove a point, you know, just play 3 strong games in a row and try to get a clean 3-0.
Maybe. We'll see. Looks like you got a sub there.
Yeah, I did. I typed something. But yeah, poor guy, appreciate it. 6 months, 30% off. That's awesome, dude. SCV gonna go for the scout. It's actually gonna get inside, so a little bit of a mistake from Jaeyun not getting on top of the ramp to prevent the SCV from getting in. Even got the bug so the Dragoon stopped scouting. And this is gonna allow Artosis to see everything that he needs to see. He's gonna see the 1-gate Robo. Looking to maybe push out with these 3 Marines and the Vulture, trying to catch this Dragoon out on the map. Might catch it a little bit off guard if Jaeyun's not paying attention, not expecting to see the army up this close, but yeah, Jaeyun does notice very quickly, and he's just gonna walk away from this. And this does allow Artosis to be... Yeah, I was gonna say, he's skipping the bunker again, which is a little bit scary. If these 2 Dragoons do meet up and come across, he's potentially in trouble, but it looked like the second Goon kind of late coming, and I think the tank is on the way. But range is done. I mean, he can micro this down, and we're gonna have the tank coming out after a lot of this has died. Potentially. But tank is here, 2 Marines go down.
Not looking good.
Yeah, and this is part of that danger of skipping that bunker. Even gonna lose his SCV building the CC, so this is fantastic for Jaeyun. Like, Jaeyun's not cutting anything to do this. This is just a normal 23 Nexus, and he gets to delay the CC while his Nexus is done.
You know, sometimes playing normal is the best type of cheese. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just seems like Artosis is just really struggling with just this normal play with Jaeyun.
Yeah, Jaeyun even picking off a Vulture there, which really, really hurts, having to lay these defensive mines. And going up to a fast 3 factory, actually, no armory, no eBay, just going straight to 3 factory. So we might see something aggressive again from Artosis.
This is going to be really good here. I've seen Artosis talking about this strategy. If you do see the Robo, he knows that he's not in any threat. He saw range, Nexus, Robo, so there is no threat of a fast DT drop or a fast Reaver. So this might actually do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, well, it still could have been Reaver, but I guess the thought process would be you're either hoping for not Reaver or you'll just have enough units to handle the Reaver without having to make turrets and stuff. So it's definitely the greediest. It's really greedy, but it's also aggressive from Artosis at the same time. He did unfortunately get supply block, which is going to slow this down a little bit. And what do you think? Do you think we're going to go with 3 tanks and a bunch of Vulture rally? I actually really like the way this looks.
No, he is. That's exactly what he's about to do. So he's about to push out right here, but I just wish he didn't lose those Marines, because you kind of need a little bit of that meat shield, you know, in the beginning of the fight. But
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, it actually makes a big difference looking at this, that we're missing 3 Marines and a Vulture that died earlier, right? So that's actually a lot of DPS that's gone down.
And Jaeyun is not going to see this move out, so this is really good here by Artosis. He has the opportunity to flank all of these units right now.
Yeah, needs to be careful not to lose too much of his kind of buffer here to these goons. So yeah, luckily well done by Artosis not to take any damage. And yeah, he doesn't even know this is here. He's just gonna just now see this, and the goons are actually separated, which is great for Artosis.
Very good from Artosis. He has an opportunity here to kill all these units.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of chaos going on. We got goons on both sides. Artosis doing a good job of keeping all 3 tanks alive so far, starting to repair one of these tanks. Siege mode finishing now as well, and Jaeyun's definitely in a bit of trouble taking some damage here. Sorry about that, guys.
We might have a serious mine drag.
Yeah, these mines are so close to going off. Jaeyun basically playing the distance perfectly, but manages to kill the SCV, repairing the tank.
Artosis is getting in there. We might have our first win from Artosis. What a good strategy, man.
Yeah, this is a cool build. I actually have not seen this before, but I really like this response from Artosis, and he just managed to perfectly stay out of vision the entire time. Jaeyun did not see this coming at all. And with all those probes going down, I mean, Artosis just has a massive lead. Behind this, we're queuing SCVs, and that's, you know, that's fine. It's better to do this than not queue them, right? But Academy on the way, throwing down an extra factory, and eBay just gonna be making sure he's like safe and solid behind this. But this is a ton of damage, and not being able to mine from his natural or his third, even branching off a couple of units. Maybe to start picking away at this nexus.
All this supply, like he's going to lose about 3 pylons in both of these nexuses. He's going to have to rebuild all of this.
Yeah, well, he should be able to push this back before taking any more damage, but this is already so much damage. Need to be a little bit careful rallying extra units, though. Kind of losing track there a little bit and going to lose another tank, potentially, for free. Yeah, just sitting on 4 factory at the moment. I mean, this push did really well, but Artosis is slipping a little bit at home while this is happening. Barely managed to pick that mine before it went off. And yeah, we didn't really lose any buildings. I mean, we lost a lot of probes, though. But we've been pumping off of our main nexus the whole time. We do have the 3 nexus macro going on now. So he's going to be able to catch up in probes pretty quick. Maybe even still slightly ahead. Yeah, it's surprising that the game's kind of even though this went really well for Artosis. We just weren't multitasking super well at home behind this, but he's going to go into the 6-pack, so he's just going to follow up with another all-in, it looks like. Although we do have our armory coming down now.
That was definitely the issue, like, just looking at it, because I just feel like Artosis should have definitely been a little bit further ahead than he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
The position's still really good for him, but I just don't think he was kind of continuing on with his build order as he should have. Yeah,
I mean, StarCraft's a hard game, right? He executed the push really well. It's really great control in the fight. And that is something like a lot of like high-level Terrans will tell you, that it's better to focus on the fight than to look away in macro if you're not fast enough to do both. So I think all in all, Artosis did the right thing. But yeah, just if he was, you know, another 50, 60 APM faster, could be in a huge winning position at the moment.
So this 6-fact, is Jaeyun going for more of a shuttle play right now? Because this 6-fact is about another minute from pushing out, and this is going to be really dangerous for Jaeyun.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if we were even going to start +1, if like maybe this was just for Goliath, but we do have +1 on the way.
Looks like Artosis is pulling the trigger already.
We have a bad rally still, so good. Yeah, we've kind of bled off a few extra tanks on the back end of that push.
That is so hurtful.
Yeah, every tank is really precious right now. You know, being down like 2 extra tanks, 2 or 3 tanks that we're missing for this push that we maybe lost that we didn't need to lose is pretty huge. But yeah, it looks like we just started +1. I think we're gearing up for the push. We're just going to keep macroing and get ready to go for this push. Supply looks, you know, playable for both players. We do have the Stargate on the way now. Jaeyun getting his gateway count up to 8.
I really like what Artosis is doing prior to the push. He's just eliminating all the escape routes for Protoss, so that when he pushes, like, he can't just like distract him by running around the map.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually really, really good to do. Something that I need to start doing way more often. I mean, mine coverage when you're going for pushes is such a important detail. It gives you so much comfort, right? Having all that vision on the map. Like you said, it even delays, like, if he wants to run around, he has to, like, go through all the mines and you have vision of it and stuff, and it buys you time. But here comes the push, and we're even on supply, which is typically very, very good for Terran when you're going for pushes. Good scan getting... Oh, no, not getting both observers.
If he can get that other observer, that would be really good for him.
Okay, we're starting a command center behind this. And even building a turret out here. We have DTs out. Scans, we have decent amount of scan energy. Looks like a big mine drag killed a bunch of vultures. Sorry, I did look away.
I actually really like the fact that Artosis is doing this because Protoss is still on 3 base. This might not be the best thing to push at this point, and just it would be better for him to just wait macro to 200 and then just call it a day. Protoss still doesn't even have a 4th base.
Yeah, I actually totally agree. The only thing is, I was going to say our starport I'd like to have seen a lot sooner if we were going to go for this. But yeah, in theory, I think you're absolutely correct that going for this play is like kind of the more guaranteed one. Like you see that he's on 3 base, right? So you just go up to your own 3 base, don't push into him, massing army and potentially get rolled. So this is, like you said, this is the smarter way of playing it. It's kind of the more guaranteed way if you can execute it properly.
And supplies are still dead even. Is that a... Does he already have arbiters on the way? Does he have an arbiter tribunal?
Hasn't started the tribunal.
This is not looking good for Jaeyun. He does not have any tech, and Artosis is about another minute and a half away from being completely maxed out and rolling this over. Gateway Man is not going to cut it.
No, definitely not. Yeah, we don't even have any shuttles out, I don't think. Okay, we have one shuttle. Yeah, this army is starting to look very, very scary. Jaeyun kind of sharking around here on the outside. Making Artosis just a little bit aware of the movement of his army, but Artosis just securing the middle and going up to a 4th base even. I hope we're not being too passive is the only thing, but attacking into like attacking into Arbiter Gateway can be a little bit scary, but he just might not be fully aware of his position in the game at the moment. We actually made a second starport on accident.
The fact that he has scan and he was able to see that Jaeyun's still another 2 minutes from an arbiter even popping out and having the energy to do anything, so Artosis does have the time, and I just think this is... A lot of Terrans need to understand, like, Terran isn't the type of race that needs to play fast, so he could just continue to do it like this, and he's pretty much guaranteed to win.
Yeah, I agree. He decided to go slow and steady. Like I said, a more reliable, like a more guaranteed way of winning if executed correctly. And right now, I mean, this position is absolutely unbreakable. There's no way Jaeyun can attack into this. Artosis positioning his army in a way where Jaeyun can't actually stop him from taking these 4 bases. Going up to his own 4th base, but I mean, as Terran, if you're on 4 base against 4 base, you're crushing the game.
And now he's maxed. This is definitely the time. The only thing that I really hope I see Artosis do at this point is I hope he attacks down and not into the mines, because if he does, this could be really bad.
Yeah, well, he did fully surround himself with mines. And yeah, we're still on 6 factory. We're on 4 base, still on 6 factory. I'd love to see him throw down an extra like 3 or 4 factories at least, to kind of prepare for when he starts pushing for this big kind of money and boost of income that he's about to get. Scans around, sees the Arbiter come out with the High Templar. Artosis is maxed. Very late on starting Arc 2-1 though.
And he has 2 starports. I think he might have not known that he already built one.
Yeah, I think it was an accident, but he's just making, I think, vessels from both of them at the moment. So, I mean, it's not the worst use of it.
Okay, now this is the part where Artosis does need to go because you're slowly giving Protoss too much time. Like there is a such thing as too much time, and if he's
Yeah,
letting him get his gateway counts up, he's letting him expand. You know, you can't let him have the whole map.
yeah, we actually see another Cybercore on the way. We've even started air upgrades on the one in the main base. And yeah, I mean, if Artosis sits here too long, he absolutely could end up getting picked off by like Arbiter player or something like that. He does have like decent recall defense, at least at the 12 o'clock. Looks like we might be pushing forward to fight a little bit. Does pick off that shuttle, which is really nice. Like I said, the only thing that I'm like a little bit concerned about, well, two things, I guess. Like we said, Artosis being very passive, and the upgrades are just very, very late.
What are Artosis' upgrades right now?
Still 0-1. The +2 attack, I think, only just recently started. Actually going to get in with these vultures, which is actually really annoying for Jaeyun because he's been maxed and he doesn't have anything producing. It's like we're going to commit to a potential counterattack. Yeah, it seems like he's not sure what to do. I mean, this middle position is so difficult for Jaeyun to deal with. Artosis is just kind of sitting there. In an arc, no less.
I'm not really understanding what's going on right now, but Artosis is doing a lot of damage with a little bit of units.
Yeah, I managed to kill this Nexus. I mean, he kind of cut off the army and got in with these vultures, and like I said, Jaeyun was max, so he wasn't even making
Looks
units.
like we got a recall on the left side.
Yeah, and this is where there's no recall defense. Pretty much entirely Zealots with one High Templar, but gonna pick off a bunch of these SCVs. Sorry, I need to...
This is not good for Artosis. He basically took out the entire SCV line.
Sorry, I'm getting pinged in a group. Okay, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, the CC actually even gets killed by the mass Zealots. Artosis kind of freezing up a little bit, it looks like.
Yeah, he needs to do something. And he needs to do something now. Like you can't allow him this much time to just do whatever he wants to do.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, Artosis pushing in here now, but we've actually run out of bank. We're dipping down on supply. We don't have bank. Looks like Jaeyun trying to break through this middle position. But, I mean, Artosis is 2-1 now, and he has a very strong army at least. But great storms from Jaeyun picking up a lot of these tanks. A little bit of a mind drag, picking up some more. Gonna get a D-Matrix, and with all the Zealots going down now...
So many tanks, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of tanks. And
it's so many tanks. It's like an army full of tanks.
Yeah, Artosis does get the supply lead now, does manage to kill off this base as well. This is where the DT Trinkle can be very strong, though. It's very hard to pay attention in these moments, and they can get a lot of value. So we'll see this team might be able to clean up all of these units over here. Does manage to scan and pick it off here now. But, I mean, Jay is still mining on 3 base. He gets to keep all of his gateways, gets to keep all of his tech. And Artosis actually... Well, he's going to be on 2 base mining still, right? Yeah, so he's still, like, happily mining on 2 base. So this is still fine for Artosis. Nice EMP on a couple of these High Templar. And going to try to get down here to save this base. I kind of felt this game, or this base was going to be forfeit, but he might be able to actually get the CC alive now. We'll see if he has time to get to it.
Seen Artosis just counter and kill those 2 bases.
Yeah, just to push the bottom right.
I mean, he could retake that later on. Sometimes Protoss just does things for distraction, just to allow them a little bit more time to max up a proper army.
Right. Yeah. The problem with this base is, like, obviously it's nice to keep this base alive if you can, but it's so far away for Artosis. I guess one thing that's... Well, no, it's actually kind of hard to defend all the way down here in this corner. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
We got another recall about to go off right there.
Yeah, and with this base going down, Artosis is basically on 1.5 base mining now. Is picking up this Nexus, potentially with these 3 tanks. Don't know if he's targeting the Nexus or not. If he is, I think he'll be able to pick it off.
Is Artosis getting his 2-3 upgrades?
No, we're staying on 2-1. Okay, he did target the Nexus and is just barely gonna go down. Oh my god, it's gonna live with 9 HP.
Get out of here.
Well, that actually really sucks for Artosis. He really needed to get that pick to kind of even up the income a little bit. And yeah, this is what I mentioned. So we come back to defend this recall, and guess what? Bottom left completely wide open, and Jaeyun's going to be able to pivot his army over there to kill it. And there's just no way for Artosis to get down there to defend it now. But this is kind of an issue with the map in general. It's very hard to go beyond 4 base and defend against Arbiter style.
It is.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to gather his army and try to head to the bottom right, but we have another recall up here at the 12 o'clock. This could go really well for Artosis if we recall on top of these mines. Unfortunately, a lot of the mines died to the friendly fire, so it does not kill hardly any of the units. And Artosis now in a lot of trouble. We're down 50 supply.
And he is literally not mining.
Yeah, we're not mining right now. I mean, his army is very strong. He has literally 0 SCVs, so his supply is almost exclusively army supply at the moment. But if he can get across, he can still get a good enough fight to take out these bases, but he definitely has to get something done now. I mean, we have a lot of energy on these vessels as well, so if he can just EMP a recall or something like that, kind of get buy himself a little bit of time so he can just push across the map and kill Jaeyun's bases.
Artosis needs to attack, and he needs to attack now. He can't keep allowing Jaeyun to distract him.
Yeah,
while
he does know it.
Continues to mine.
Yeah, as long as he can get this push going, and like I said, stop a recall with an EMP or something like that, then he still has a chance. Even though the supply does not look great for him, the economy does not look great for him, his army is just very strong. And yeah, here comes another recall to the 12 o'clock. And that will absolutely finish off this base, and then now we just have 1 base left mining for Artosis. I think we just killed one of our own tanks, even. But this is a very strong army from Artosis. We are losing tanks 2 cannons, unfortunately. And I'm very worried about this Arbiter here on the left side. If this base goes down, then Artosis is just dead.
He has got to fortify that base. He has the units to fortify it, but he just hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, is going to manage to pick off this 1 base, still down about 50 supply. And yeah, huge army coming out of the main now from Jaeyun. And I don't think there's any way for Artosis to hold onto this. We get the MP, but way after the recall was set off. And I think Artosis is dead, guys. I think we kind of threw a little bit too passive with our huge lead that we had after the opening. And I actually kind of hate to see it. I feel like Artosis did that push so well in the beginning of the game.
He may have a small glimmer of hope, because after this next base goes out, Jaeyun will not be.
Actually, you're not.
Anymore.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I didn't realize we killed this base too. Jaeyun, yeah, he's not mining either after this. We have a pretty strong army. We have enough for an EMP. We got 500 minerals here about on our natural.
That army's really scary by Jaeyun. He has
It's
a lot of
terrifying.
storm,
Yeah,
and
2
he has
Arbiter.
2 full stasises, so it's not looking too good.
Yeah, Jaeyun's gonna be able to save this base and get a probe down there. Even this probe getting picked off, I mean, that is a third of Jaeyun's economy going down with that probe. But yeah, I mean, just Jaeyun's army does look terrifying right now. See if we can get any kind of additional value with these vultures.
Okay, Artosis is picking off some Templars. He really needs that. It's actually a very close game.
It's very, very close. Jaeyun, the best thing Jaeyun can do right now is nothing, right? He needs to kind of sit around with his army and kind of not try to engage. If he goes up into these high grounds trying to kill Artosis, he could easily throw the game instead. But if Artosis comes out to fight him, I can't imagine him winning a fight in the open ground against this army. Okay, another full high energy Templar going down. Getting 3 Templar there is really good. Obviously, every unit very precious right now for both players, so losing the Vultures does hurt, but killing 3 Templar probably worth it. And yeah, I think this is just going to get cleaned up very, very efficiently, and I don't think Artosis
He could just
can...
get one good EMP for this army. It would be so good for Artosis.
Yeah, it looks like we kind of forgot about this vessel here. It's been there the whole game. Does have this CC landed here. Gonna start trying to mine from that. But it's gonna be so hard to hold it. His army just being split like this. He needs to get his army together, but there's really no way to get it together. Jaeyun not pouncing on top of that army, I guess because he was missing a bunch of his army, not 100% sure how large it is. And I'm worried about how clumped these tanks are for his stasis, but this game is like really, really tense right now.
Because it's literally coming down to one mistake.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get that first mistake. Artosis being caught unsieged, so this is going to be a great trade for Jaeyun getting a bunch of stasis on these tanks as well.
Wow. Jaeyun wins it, man. That definitely...
Yeah, he basically lost nothing for that. I mean, that could not have gone better for Jaeyun. Artosis going to be Artosis at the end of the day. Never got his upgrades though. I mean, we made it to 30 minutes without getting +3 attack. And we're gonna get a recall on top of these units. As Artosis is typing, very frustrated with his loss, and I kind of understand why he's frustrated. I mean, he did have a massive lead after that push. Just wasn't able to close the game out from there.
And that's one of the issues with Terran. You can give up your lead. One bad attack, it's very easy for Terran to throw away a game.
I liked where his head was at as far as like what to do. I just don't think he did it well enough. You know what I mean? He just sat there for 10 minutes. He can't understand that. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like, I like the idea of securing the 4 base and playing from there, but you're going to have to deal with recall, and you have to set up very, very good recall defense if you're going to do that, right? Like, it is a guaranteed win, kind of like I was saying, if he executes it correctly, but he needs his turrets, he needs his mines, he needs to be on top of his recalls. If he can do that, then what he did is the guaranteed win, right? But he just didn't. I mean, there was one turret on the left side, and that was it. That was all he had for the Arbiter that he scanned forever ago. So, like, he had to have known recall was coming. Hey, what's up, Cat? Alright, we got cross-spawn. Cross-spawn does actually take away a good bit of the advantage the Terran does get on this map, unfortunately for Artosis, so We'll see if Artie wants to get greedy again. I do actually really like what he did. Like, really, really like what he did. And it might be something that I find myself copying in the future. I definitely see a lot of merit in the build that Artosis went for. Already gave Jaeyun too much time to get Nexus and Stasis at one point. It was 4-base first 4-base. That's what I mean, right? Like, the 4-base first 4-base setup that Artie went for was really, really good, right? It's super solid and consistent. You just have to defend Arbiter. That's all it comes down to. Oh, what's up, Ursula? Yeah, you can you're more than welcome to cast with me. I didn't realize Moonrat left.
All right, yeah, thanks, Ozzy.
Yeah, no
So
problem.
the third game?
Yeah, we're on game 3. Jaeyun currently up 2-0. Being joined here by the first always a pretty consistent A-rank Terran.
No, you gave me too much credit. I'm B at best.
Yeah, yeah, okay. He's also notoriously modest. Okay, so already going for this fast third supply depot, so it looks like he might want to try to get aggressive again, but this is pretty ill-advised cross-spawn. This might be a I don't want to play this series anymore push, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it seems like some kind of FD push if he puts down the shop. No, he doesn't put down the shop, so it's going to be Vulture Marine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went for this
Third
the first
depot.
game as well.
Yeah, third depot up and continued production out of his barracks and factory. So yeah, he's definitely going to make some kind of push, but I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work, right? Like you said, it's cross map. It's big map as well, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm surprised he's going for this. Thank you, Cookie, for the sub on YouTube, by the way. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be add-on behind this, and the CC. He seems to be, like, I don't know if he's doing this push, like, quite often, or what's going on. Jaeyun pretty much doing the same thing he's done every game. Just going 23 Nexus, Goon Scouting, into 1 gate Robo. So yeah, just playing a consistent, solid style. Nice little catch here on the Goon, though. Gets a good bit of shield damage. Vulture gonna run around the side of the map. And yeah, I was gonna say, if that Goon moves out, he actually could get caught off guard, but thinks twice about it and sends it back home.
Yeah, so Artosis has made 5 Marines. I guess we were wrong, though. He's not going to push. Maybe he's trying to like bait out the Dragoon so he can run his Vulture by, but I don't think that's going to happen as well, because like you said, Jaeyun has wisely left 1 Dragoon back, so he's not going to be able to get any pro kills.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really interesting from Artosis. I've not seen someone do this before, but with Goon Range done now, it can actually pick away at these Marines really, really well. Gonna get the Vulture here behind. Gonna try and get a body block, so the Marines get a lot of shots off, but Jaeyun moving pretty well. The Goon doesn't get blocked, but does take a lot of damage still from these Marines. And already even losing a Marine is kind of a good thing, because he was actually supply blocked, so I think it allowed a tank or an SCV to get started. Yeah, it's going to be 3-gate Robo from Jaeyun. So a slight mix-up there. He has been doing 2-gate into third, but going to be a little bit safer. I think this is in response to seeing so many Marines. He was worried about getting pushed.
Wow, look at this. Artosis is banking. Okay, I thought he was going to make another command center or something. Or it's Starport. Okay, that makes more sense now.
Yeah, so it's going to be a drop play from Artosis. Jaeyun with a pretty long supply block. I mean, we ended up starting 3 pylons at once because of that. He's going to end up taking a pretty late third with this build, but he's going to have a very high Dragoon count. So if he stays at home and defends well, it's actually going to be pretty good for him. Right now, he's set up very defensively with his Dragoons. Actually has no vision on the map, sending a probe out to see if there's something coming. Even turning around from the midway point. Yeah, both of them pretty much in the dark, but I mean, Artie at least has like a little bit of... I mean, Artie has some map control. He doesn't know if there's a third over here on the left side, which is actually where it looks like Jaeyun's going to be taking his third. So won't have access to that third gas at least. But very, very large Dragoon count here at the main. And it may end up moving out just as his drop is coming in, actually. So there is potential for a lot of damage here. We have the eBay on the way, second factory on the way now. Or are we just about done for Artosis?
Yeah, I love how, like, I don't know if he's doing this intentionally, but even having that one vulture out at third laying mines just to distract attention away, right?
Yeah, it's
While
good.
he moves in with the dropship.
Jaeyun notices immediately, though. Jaeyun's so fast, right? Like, this is such a fast... And this was purely a reaction. Loses one vulture in the main, so not going to be able to get the one taps on these probes, and actually just gets a full wall as well, so pretty annoying. Looks like the dropship went down as well, and this vulture kind of running around confused. Meanwhile, these units are going to try to make it to the third and potentially try to get a cancel, but there's not enough DPS here to kill this Nexus. And yeah, with all these Dragoons and Observers coming, there's no way we're killing this Nexus. So gonna try to... Oh, good mine hit though, actually gets a lot of damage on the Dragoons. Manages to get out with one Vulture. But all in all, I would say Jaeyun defended really well, and he's definitely in a good position after this.
Yeah, definitely not the damage that Artosis was looking for with this kind of opening.
Yeah, only killed like, what, 3 or 4 probes probably. Lost a lot of vultures, lost his marines. But I mean, losing the marines isn't that big of a deal at least.
Yeah, Jaeyun gonna get a full scout off on Artosis' base. But the problem is that, like, when you lose so many of these fighting units, and, well, Jaeyun doesn't have to guess, he already knows, but I was gonna say, like, as a Protoss, you can actually already kind of guess that Terran has no way to really pressure you.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you must be feeling really safe, and, like, he sees the... Is it 5 factories? I think it's, like, 5 factories going down. I didn't get the count on that. Yeah, there's 5 factories going down. But it's just so delayed. Like, Jaeyun has a huge lead at this point.
Yeah, going up to 6 gateways, got a Stargate on the way. Gonna be working towards that Arbiter again. So just been playing pretty much the same style every game. Kind of like to see it from Jaeyun. I feel like he's making a little bit of a statement, like, you know, he has been gone a little bit, but he didn't goof around, he didn't do anything crazy, he just played very strong, standard gameplay every game.
I think Jaeyun might be gearing up to take his 4th base even. And he definitely can. There's not really any huge threat from the Terran.
Yeah. I will say, like, his 3rd CC timing is actually pretty nice in this map. It is extremely hard to break Terran. So he's going to be able to take this 3rd relatively early, and he should be able to defend it without really being in much danger of anything happening.
Yeah, I feel like that's a consequence a little bit due to this map choice, though. Like, this map is so Terran favored.
Yeah, it's... I think this is the best TVP map. I actually mentioned Deja Vu earlier. I forgot about Pantheon, but yeah, this is probably the best TVP map in the map pool by a pretty large margin, actually. It's just so hard to break Terran on this map.
Right, yeah, so we do see that 4th coming down from Jaeyun.
Yeah, Tribunal on the way, Artosis scans.
Arbiter Tribunal on the way.
Scans, sees the gateway count, sees the tech. Again, we missed the Tribunal, but you can just kind of tell by what we scanned this is going to be Arbiter. Artosis supply looks pretty good. We're getting a good factory count. I feel like this is one thing he was missing on the Radeon game. His factory count getting up pretty high pretty quick. Sci-fi, much better timing. He's actually... This game is the most crisp he's looked as far as his build.
Yeah, I wanted to also point out, like, despite that horrible opening, his, like, recovery and the supply is actually kind of insane. Okay, we're going to see another drop here, but Jaeyun Sim City is so good. And
Yeah,
it's gonna,
there's no way to get
basically do
damage here with
nothing.
the drops. Did drop this tank over here, it's not going to be able to get anything done. Vulture's going to drop here and just going to snipe off a couple probes while this cannon kills them off. Oh, even retargeting the dropship to make sure the cannon kills the dropship. So pretty smart. Very nice awareness from Jaeyun checking the HP of units.
Yeah, Jaeyun branching out to the bottom right now, starting to take that base. As the game progresses, as Protoss, you definitely have to like take another corner of the map, if only just to build more gateways. Because if Terran is able to get a really good push off and continue in your main, and you don't have any production facilities anywhere else, I mean, it doesn't matter if you have like 10,000 minerals; it's basically over. So
Yep, exactly.
trying to establish another base on the bottom right is good. Jaeyun, I think he's just doing a little bit of mine sweeping right now. Also really good as Protoss. You really want to continually keep the map clear of spider mines. These mines are so cost efficient, and it can definitely I'm not even kidding. Like just mine placement alone can literally win you a game as Terran.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, mines have so much value. Not even just for picking off units, but just for vision, spotting army movement, that kind of thing. It's buying you time. Like it's, yeah, mines are a good unit, guys. But yeah, I mean, Artie's position is very playable. We have decent recall defense here at the third. I kind of don't like that there's like this opening on the top side. But he is at least like kind of working towards some semblance of recall defense this game. Got our fourth base on the way. Jaeyun fifth just finished. Currently no probes on the base getting transferred now. And I mean, again, like this looks very similar to Radeon, where Artie just he's in a good looking position. Supply looks great. This time his upgrades are much faster. Although our second army's not spinning, so this might just be 1-1 on the way. It's kind of been a little bit of a theme today for Artosis for getting not being on top of his upgrades. It's so important in this matchup. The 2-1 timing, the 3-2 timings, like these are massive breakpoints for Terran to be allowed to fight the Protoss armies.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Ozzy, but I think with +2 in your tanks, it only takes... Okay, hold this thought. If you can pick off this vessel, that would be huge, and it has 100 energy as well. Oh, okay, he manages to save it. That was really close.
Yeah, looked like a little bit of a misclick from Jaeyun because he definitely failed the second volley there to kill it. So pretty lucky for Artosis to keep his vessel alive, and that means he gets to keep it for the EMP, which I think the research just finished.
Yeah.
Jaeyun making a 5th CC.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just pointing out the 5th command center here.
Yeah, Artosis is like macro is actually insane this game. I mean, he was at a definite deficit, as we pointed out in the early game due to his opening, but he has recovered completely. In fact, he takes the supply lead against Jaeyun, which is really impressive. Yeah, and anyway, as I was trying to point out earlier about the upgrades, and you were pointing out how important it is, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I think with +2 in siege mode, you can two-shot a goon instead of three shots, right? That's a huge breakpoint?
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. Like, not only are you killing goons, that one shot faster, but you're also, the splash damage is that much stronger. Trying to run some vultures here in the top left, but a lot of cannons here to kind of deter, kill off a few of them, but there's no probes up here to kill either. So just a little bit annoying for Jaeyun. While this is happening, we just have this huge swell of vultures here in the bottom right of the map. Maybe looking to run around and lay some mines, but this is very dangerous to do. If these vultures get picked off, you lose so much buffer for your tanks that is very necessary. We're actually committing into 6 o'clock, which is kind of insane. We'll see how this goes for Artosis.
Yeah, with so many vultures, so he could potentially even kill the Nexus if he targets right now. I mean, he's probably going to lose all these vultures, so if I was Artosis, I would definitely target the Nexus right now, and I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to lay some mines and try to target down this Nexus. Let's see if Jaeyun tries for any kind of counter, because he knows that so much of Artosis' supply is out of position. But it looks like he's not doing that just now, so Artosis does get the Nexus. This is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, he gets a Nexus and kills all the probes, so I mean, even though we're going to lose all these vultures, that's actually pretty good value. And like I said, we got the 5th CC done, so we're floating almost 4,000 minerals, so this is actually totally fun for Artosis. I'd love to see like a few more factories get thrown down, though. That's the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous. We have this big bank, but our remax is going to be incredibly slow after we lose these units.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta be careful. Loses that full energy vessel. That is really tragic for Artosis. That was a big pick-off for Jaeyun.
Yeah, I think this was meant to go sniping for observers, and he kind of lost track of what he was doing with that army, so ends up just kind of walking out there, lose a couple Goliath, loses the vessel. Is going to be able to secure this 5th base, but like I said, right, the supply from Artosis just doesn't look great, even though we have this big bank. But he's still fine, like, he's not really going to be broken. The only thing we have to worry about, again, is going to be the recalls. And we do have energy for recall. He might go for, like, a stasis bust here, potentially, but I mean, these positions are so hard to break. Artosis' army is getting spread out, kind of all over the place a little bit. Mismanaged here. Even left a couple vultures down here to spot the 6 o'clock base coming back up.
Yeah, I think at this point Jaeyun is just probing for weaknesses. That's why, and he's gonna commit. Yeah, he's
nice.
That's why he was. Yeah, it was good stasis, but a good EMP as well.
Yeah, a lot of the units just aren't down here though for Artosis, so he's not trading super efficiently. Our 2-2 should be finishing up very, very soon. Yeah, so right there. Okay, so 2-2 just now finished. See how quick we get our 3 potentially, or at least +3 attack on the way. But yeah, this is a big point here for Artosis where we get a lot stronger. Getting the EMP on that Arbiter was really nice because it means we don't have a recall to worry about. Do we only have the one Arbiter? I'm not seeing any more Arbiters anywhere.
I just wanted to point out there was a fleet beacon in Jaeyun's natural,
oh,
so
okay.
we might be thinking of going for a carrier switch.
Yeah, this could be carriers on the way. Well, during this though, like during this carrier swap, there is going to be a window where Jaeyun is extremely vulnerable. His bank is actually very, very low. His ground army is very weak. If Artie realizes, and it looks like we might be gearing up for a push now, and maybe going to be taking that 5th while we go for this push. So there's going to be definitely a window here for Artosis to get some damage done. I mean, there's so much like mine defense here at the 12 o'clock base. I actually really like this. This is going to be very hard to break, and while he's pushing to bottom right, it's also protecting this 5th base that he's taking. So I really like this attack pattern from Artosis. And we'll see if he notices this army is way too small. He should be a little bit suspicious of how tiny that ground army was right now.
Yeah, one thing that actually aids Jaeyun is their spawn location, unfortunately, right? Because of the cross-map position, even if Artie takes out bottom right, Jaeyun can just retake like top left and still be able to fund his carriers.
Yeah. And upgrades have not restarted here for Artosis still. Upgrades on carriers, we are 1-1-1 on the carrier. So Artosis is going to be able to kill this bottom right base. There's really not much Jaeyun can do about it at this point. Yeah, Jaeyun kind of went for that one Arbiter into carrier style. I've seen this a few times, and it can be very difficult to play against because if you're not paying attention, the carrier swap comes really quickly after the Arbiter and can totally cut you off guard.
Yeah, I think I saw 5 carriers already built, so that is really good for Jaeyun. When you get 6 carriers, that's when things get really start to get really tough for Terran.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Artosis does have a big bank, at least, to potentially fight the carrier. EMP does miss onto that Arbiter.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know if Artosis even knows about the carriers. He doesn't seem to be like.
No, I don't think he does. It's not occurred to him.
Yeah, I hate to call this, but I mean, even with Artosis's like 7k bank and all that, I feel like when these carriers hit, it's just gonna be overwhelming. You know, he's not like it's gonna run him over. Like you really have to like pre-make Goliaths and such, right? Especially at this stage against carriers.
Yeah, gonna crush this army. He didn't leave enough units down here, I think, to defend this. We'll see. Well, there's no storm currently. He's gonna be able to kill a bunch of these probes and cannon. He might be able to kill this top left base, and we actually are getting close to a point. the only thing, like you said, the only problem is we just don't have the Goliath that we need. We need to be preempting, making these Goliath. But Jaeyun's bank, very low, not maxed at the moment. Actually wouldn't even be able to afford interceptors. And now Artosis is going to realize, oh my god, there's carriers on the field. And we are already at that 6 carrier mark. Quickly sniping the 2 vessels there, and these carriers just going to start cleaning a bunch of this up. Bottom right base is going down, and I'd love to see Artosis actually fall back with these tanks. He kind of needs to keep them alive so he can just mass Goliath with the current tank count that he has.
Yeah, this is well defended by Jaeyun, so he will retain his bases basically, and on the left-hand side of the map. And I think that was a little bit of what I was trying to say. Like, even if Artosis kills this bottom right, Jaeyun will be completely fine because he has the whole left side of the map, and this is a consequence, I kind of feel like, of the cross map spawn locations.
Okay, 3-3 finally started for Artosis. Carrier count's going to be very, very high for Jaeyun, and now we just have this big supply swing in favor of Jaeyun.
Yeah, Artosis should not be taking this fight right now. I mean, you really need to, against this much, like Protoss, and you gotta assume that they're near max, and yeah, Jaeyun is max. And I'm actually kind of like surprised Jaeyun like didn't just take that fight. He could have ran over this like Terran army, but
yeah, and it looks like he is gonna manage to barely hold this bottom right base as well. Things looking pretty dire for Artosis.
yeah, I don't really see a way out for Artosis. I mean, unless he gets some kind of like miraculous, like, I don't know, like his carriers run over 12 Goliaths or something, right, without looking, or something like that, right?
Yeah, these Goliath actually on hold position, which is very bad for Goliath against carrier. Can at least step forward and almost kill one carrier, just kind of half kills it essentially. And yeah, you kind of hate to see it. We just didn't see the carriers coming. We didn't prep for it. He was in a really, really good winning position again. Just not able to finish it off. I mean, from here, it feels so hopeless, this Terran.
Yeah, I mean, the game is not over for Artosis. There is still a world you can come back, but it's got to be like split map, I feel like, at this point, right? And
yeah,
you know,
split map
you
against
have to
carrier is so
make-
hard to play.
Right. Well, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, Jaeyun just has too many bases, so you need to split the map as Terran, and it also will benefit you because if you split the map, the carriers are slow, right? So like if they're out of position trying to counter your Terran bases, you can then destroy their mining bases, stuff like that, right? But I don't think it's possible for him to really fight head on, so to speak. Like, you gotta play for a split map position at this point.
You don't think he can fight head on? I actually think he kind of can. The only issue is just that our supply is too low, but I feel like if he's max, he can actually fight this head on. That being said, our army is splitting up a bit, and we are down 30 supply. I mean, the carrier count is like super high. What's this 7? I actually thought we had a couple more than that. Okay, there we go, yeah, so going up to 11 carrier now. And yeah, actually, I don't think there's any way for Artosis to win from here. Storm's getting tons of value. Artosis dropping down to 130 supply, doesn't have the gas anymore. We even have units here killing our 3 o'clock and disrupting the mining. And I think that's pretty much going to do it. Artosis does have a big mineral bank, but minerals isn't necessarily all he needs right now. Does pick off a couple carriers, but still 9 carriers left. It's just... Fighting against carriers, Terran is so difficult as something I still haven't quite really got the hang of yet. Not even close, actually. Shouldn't say quite. Not even close to able to deal with high carrier counts.
Yeah, it feels like with like super high carrier counts, you either gotta get like a lucky race switch, or you gotta continually try to like draw the Protoss army away from each other, like separate the ground from the air.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then like attack where the carriers aren't, like keep cycling around your units, but yeah, definitely really hard to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just barely mining anymore now. It's a shame, really. There's a lot of things Artosis does that I'm actually really liking. I I mean, this game, he gets into really good positions, and I really like the way he goes about getting there. It just seems to be that once we're getting into like the end game and stuff, he just kind of drops the ball a little bit. And unfortunately, in this matchup, you have to. I mean, I hate to say it, okay, but in this matchup, it feels like you have to play almost perfect to win consistently, right? You can't really afford to make any mistakes. I always say this quite often. I think that if Terran plays well, like if Terran's playing really, really well, it's very Terran favored, but it's very hard to play well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't think that's a really like how would I say this? Like, I think that's common. That's a common assertion, right? Like Terran is actually the strongest race if you play it perfectly.
Right.
But then, you know, it's hard to play perfectly. I just wanted to point out, Artosis does have a fleet of wraiths, but Jaeyun has like triple observers, right, or quadruple observers.
Yeah, 4 observers, get a 5th observer. We have tons of storm here with the goons. It's hard to imagine the Wraith actually gonna catch him off guard.
Right, and I just want to go off that earlier comment you said. Like, I really do think Artosis, he recovered really well, actually. He played really well.
His
in the
macro
early
was
game.
fantastic this game.
Yeah. He just didn't, like, scan to see the carriers. He just didn't see it coming, and that's basically what cost him the game.
Yep, pretty much. Does manage to kill this base, which is nice, but it's not going to be enough. We'll see. We'll see if these Wraith can get some magic done. Does scan ahead to look for the observers, but I mean, look at all this. There's no way we can go in with these Wraith. It's going to try and snipe them off. Does manage to make him storm his own carrier at least.
Carriers. Yeah, the Wraiths just get evaporated by that Dragoon, Storm, Carrier, Observer combo. So that was, I felt like that was basically Artosis' ace, right? He had like a huge fleet of Wraiths, but now they are all gone, so... And he invested a lot of like resources into that. Jaeyun nearly maxed Artosis sub 100 supply, and without a bank anymore. I mean, this. I think we're minutes away, basically, from seeing this game close out.
Stormed his own High Templar. I actually don't think he stormed his own High Templar on purpose. I think he tried... I've seen this happen quite often. I think he tried to storm the SCVs and he clicked an Interceptor. This actually can happen really easily with all the Interceptors flying around.
Yeah,
already going to go
like
for this one last hoorah push in the top left before he GG's out. And he will GG. We know Artosis.
I like this counterattack. That's what I was gonna say, and it kind of goes, I think, about what I was saying earlier. You have to be where the carriers aren't when you're playing against mass carriers like this. Like, keep on cycling around. But the problem is that Artosis doesn't have the economy anymore, nor the army count to really make this work. And yeah, these carriers are just gonna clean up everything.
Yep, I think that will pretty much do it. With this army going down, Artosis no longer mining. And that's going to be a 3-0 victory for Jaeyun. GG Nexus, man. Told you he would GG. Alright, thanks for joining me on the cast. First of all, I appreciate it.
No, thanks, Azzy, for having me on.